In this video help, I'm going to be covering the consignment screen, main screen, and I'm going to be covering the tab that is for consignment. And what this is the individual items that are being assigned by the consigner to the store. There's a record, and this is a portal, scrolling portal. There's a record for each individual item that's added to the consignment items in the store. And that's for the individual consigner. There's a record for each one based on the consigner record. Now with this in the system, you would scroll down if you wanted to add a new one. When you click on the new record, basically the blank one, you would add the date of the consignment for the date that you're adding it to your inventory, and then you would fill out this information. I'm going to go cover a couple of records here that are already entered to show you some basic information about them that you're going to be adding and how they vary. There's two ways that they can actually look, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the first one. You would do the drop-down calendar and add the consign date. The next thing you would do is click in and edit this field in order to put in the name of the item that is being added. You would not put in the consigned sold date until the actual item is sold, and that's one of those items that would be updated later on when you're doing the invoice. This consigned date paid, the commission for the date of the actual commission being paid is for the consigner, and that's added after you do the report to generate information on for consignments when you're ready to pay the checks for the consigner. This information here is only appearing when you have sold an item, and based on the actual commission rates, which is here, you would have either in this case it's 40% or 0.4, the decimal that you put in there. When you enter the 0.4 for 40%, it automatically calculates and puts you up 60% for a total of 100%. In this screen, because it was sold, it does have the commission for the consigner and the store commission calculated. And it also will, when you have any fees, and we'll talk about that in a second, about fees to the consigner, and then you'd have the commission that was actually paid when you actually pay the commission to the consigner, would show up in this space, and this is what the actual item sold for. Now, click anywhere out of this to lower that. The next thing you're going to see is a notes thing here, and what you can do is take notes on a line-by-line invoice item in this area, and you can put in there things like something that affects the repair or conditions or return, or when it goes back to the consigner if it never sells, you can go ahead and get it sent and make the notes when they pick it up. The fees due consigner, let's explain what this is about. Fees due consigner is based on if the item that you're bringing in has some problems with it, like it needs to be clean and you're going to charge for it, or maybe you're going to take scratches out of it or something like that. You would put the price in that you plan to sell it for or have sold it for, and you're getting ready to do the commissions for this guy. What you'd do is you'd put in like the $18 or the $250, whatever is appropriate for each row, and then go ahead and put any plus fees in there. Those are sell plus fees based on something other than a recon condition. This might be something where you had to do something else, paperwork or whatever, that is a charge type item. The next thing is the lot size. If there's one item, two items in the same lot, 3, 4, you put the number in there so you know how many items are actually in this lot. So if you go to look for it and you have a picture here, you're looking at it, you want to make sure that when they're selling it, that all the items are included. Say you're going to sell a TV set, but there's a control for it, a remote control, or something else, you would want to put 2 items or 3 items depending on what's there. So when it goes to be sold, that you make sure that you have all the items in front of you. Then the next item is the recon fee. Like I said, you put in whatever that cost is to fix that item up for ready for sale. And the next item is if you go to the consigner's office or warehouse or whatever and pick something up, you're going to charge him a fee for shipping it to your location. And then that will automatically calculate all the fees. When you're getting ready to do the sale of this item, you want to make sure that you take the fees that are in there and add them to the fees due to the consigner, which means that you're going to be charging out of the commission whatever value it cost you for these items down here. Okay, now let's kind of close down. And the next thing is adding an item that has a picture. And what you do here in the desktop version, you would see insert picture, where it would open up a dialog and allow you to pick it and insert it in that screen. On the iPad, it'll say Insert from Library, and you would click there, and then it would pop up a list of pictures that you can go ahead and pick to put in here. So you can see the actual item as it was taken when the item was added to the inventory. That also helps that you do it when it's added to the inventory. That way, if something is misplaced and you're not exactly sure what the description of this item is, you have a picture, so it's very easy to find that item if something got stacked on top of it or got moved to a location where you were not expecting it to be. The next thing I want to show you is when you take something in and it's added for the first time, you're going to put in there either it's new item and not on the floor if it's not, and then when it's ready for sale, you put in for sale. Now, if you have other things that you want to add, you can always change this in the consigner status list. And the way that works is you click on this, and it brings up the status list, and you're able to edit the status list to add certain things that are not included in it right now. And the basic way you do that is you click on New, you go down here and you type up that new one. As soon as you click off, it's added to the list. Then when you go back to the consigner's screen and do the drop down, then that item would be added to this list. Or if you want to, say when you want to take something out, the best way to take it out is you highlight the edge of the screen where it says that it's gray. Then you hit delete, and what it'll do is it'll pop up you hit the delete button, and basically what it'll do is it'll pop up this dialog that says delete the record, and what it'll do is it'll delete that line item from this list. So that's how you remove things from the list. If you added a new item and you used it on an item that's in the consignments, do not remove it from the list. It's there permanently once you start using it. You do not want to come in here and take it off the list because it could remove it from the record that you're viewing on the main screen. So you basically either, if you have not used them and then you're adding new ones and you want to take one out that you don't want in there, you want to take one of the ones that were in the demo version here and remove it, like maybe you don't want website or eBay in there. You can remove those immediately when you get the app and take those out. Okay, let's go back into the consignment record. The next one that also has a category list is this one. The same thing that we just discussed, you can add categories in here by doing a new record and adding categories. This only has a few right now, but you can add as many as you like, or you can edit the ones that are here if you do not sell these kind of items when you're setting up the application. Going back to the consignment record again, you have another pop-up tab, and this one is for the tax. If you have a tax rate and you may need to change it on the iPad, because scrollers don't allow you to edit this field, in here you have this screen. If you need to edit it on the iPad, you would come in here and you would change the tax rate to whatever your tax rate is when you're setting it up, or if the tax rate changes periodically. Then when you go back to the consignment record, you'll see that there's a tax field here. Whenever you sell the item, this field will be populated with whatever the tax rate is, or the tax that was actually charged on the invoice. The next thing is this field will not be edited in this screen. You can click in it, but it's going to give you an error and say that you cannot edit that particular field because it's calculated on the invoice and filled in automatically for the sold at price. Now, when you're using the invoice, you need to discount. If you're not going to sell the item for the amount that you see here on the screen, like $18, you need to say, for example, you're going to sell it for $16. All you have to do is put 2 in here, no minus sign, just 2, and what it'll do is it'll take $2 off the sell price, so that when you do sell it, this would be $16. Obviously, there are times when you need to discount things in negotiation with a buyer in a consignment store where they'll pay a certain amount, and then you want to allow to give them a discount, so you would give them a discount. It usually is on a larger item, and in this particular case, maybe this originally was going to sell for $2.99 in the quote, $2.50 here, and the guy said, I'll give you $2.30 for it. Well, you can go ahead and take the $20 off and put it in here, and that way it would change the final sell-at price down to this, down to $2.30. So that pretty well explains the basic part of adding information. Now I'm going to give you the next thing that may be used on this screen. For example, you may want to do the time payments or reductions in cost over time. And the way that works, here's one that's a straight sale, and I'll show you how it is put in where you don't add anything or edit it. it will automatically sell the thing for the item or with a discount at one price all the way through the term of how long it is on your floor. Where this one up here, you can set it up to change on a periodic basis, say like 30, 60, 90, and 104 days. What that would be basically is 30, 60, 90, and the 15 days before a client to pick it up, if that's the way you want to run your contract. And at the end of 90 days, you give them 15 days to come in or forfeit the item. A lot of businesses do their consignments in that way, or they just do a straight hold it on the floor type one until it sells. That's probably not a good idea, especially if it's an expensive item and you want to get it off your floor because it's taking a lot of space and not selling, and the consignor will not reduce the price. The next thing is you can change either these or you can change the percentages to whatever makes you happy. I have 10, 20, and 30 up until the 90th day, and then at 140 days, this thing is supposed, or 104 days, it's supposed to be off the floor at that point. So at 30%, after 90 days, it should sell for $12.60. So that's how this works. Now, these are automatically calculated days based on what you put in, 30, 60, and 90, and 104. It'll automatically fill in the correct date for this. On the actual invoice, this information will pop up on the screen on the row so that you can see if it's reached one of these break dates. So it's, in this case, if it was 10% at 60 days, anytime on September the 1st or thereafter up to October 11th would be a 10% discount at $16.20 is what it would sell for. If you have any questions about those kinds of things, you can always contact me for information about that. One of the last things I want to cover is the comments over here on this area that actually show up in other places. But basically what here is done is you may want to add a little information on the actual description of the item or something that has happened to the item one way or the other. Maybe it was damaged while it was on the floor and you want to take notes on it so you can notify the consignor about the damage on it. And that becomes an action item up here on this list to contact the consignor and let him know if he wants to leave it on the floor or come and retrieve it if it was damaged. And also, basically, at the end of the time that this item was actually to be sold, if it is going to be forfeited, then you would go ahead and put forfeit in here and then put a note when the consignor picks it up here that this item was picked up, or you can do it in these notes, which is more appropriate, showing that the item was actually forfeit and on date, what date, and when it was picked up and who it was picked up by, so that you have that in the actual record on the pop-up. If you have any questions, like I said, you can always contact me for more descriptions if you need them. Thank you.